The kids want to spend Mother's Day with someone who's actually fun, my husband Derek said, loading our daughters into his car Sunday morning. We're going to Jenna's house. She's planning games and a pool party. He said it casually, like he was announcing a trip to the grocery store, not the fact that he was taking my children to spend Mother's Day with his girlfriend. What he didn't know was that I'd been documenting his affair for 3 months, and while he was playing happy family with his mistress, I'd be spending the day with someone who could actually help me, my divorce attorney. I stood in the driveway in my pajamas, watching my daughters, Sophie, 8, and Maya, 6, wave goodbye through the car window. They looked confused but excited. Derek had probably sold it as an adventure, a fun surprise. They had no idea what was really happening. The moment his car disappeared around the corner, I walked back inside, poured myself a coffee, and called Catherine Price. "Happy Mother's Day, Vanessa," Catherine answered. She was the best divorce attorney in the city, and she didn't take days off. "Are we still on for 10? "Absolutely. He just left with the kids. Took them to her house, just like you predicted." "Perfect. That's parental alienation, by the way. Especially on Mother's Day. Judges hate that." I could hear the satisfaction in her voice. "Bring everything you've got. We're filing tomorrow." Let me back up 3 months to explain how I got here. I'm Vanessa Hart, 34 years old, and until recently, I thought I had a decent marriage. Not perfect. Derek traveled a lot for work, and we'd grown distant, but decent. We had 2 beautiful daughters, a nice house in the suburbs, and what I thought was a partnership. Then I found the receipt. It was stupid, really. A crumpled piece of paper in his jacket pocket when I was taking clothes to the dry cleaner. Dinner for 2 at Marcello's, our anniversary restaurant. Except it was dated February 14th, and we hadn't gone out for Valentine's Day. Derek had said he was at a client dinner in Boston. I checked our credit card statements. There was no charge from Marcello's, which meant he'd paid cash, deliberately hiding it. I hired a private investigator that week. Her name was Lisa Chun, and she was worth every penny of the $3,000 retainer. Within 2 weeks, she had everything. Photos of Derek with a woman named Jenna Whitmore, a 28-year-old marketing coordinator at his company. Hotel check-ins. Intimate dinners. Weekend trips he'd claimed were work conferences. "Your husband's not even being careful," Lisa told me, showing me the evidence. "He's parked in her driveway overnight multiple times. They go to public restaurants. It's like he wants to get caught. Or he thinks I'm too stupid to notice," I said quietly. That's when I called Catherine Price. "Don't confront him yet," Catherine advised. "Right now, we document everything. Bank accounts, assets, his behavior with the kids. Massachusetts is a no-fault state, but adultery still matters for things like alimony and custody, especially if he's exposing your children to his affair partner." So I documented. I opened my own bank account and quietly moved money from our joint savings, my inheritance from my aunt, which I could prove was separate property. I photographed every asset in our house. I tracked Derek's location using the family phone plan. I kept a detailed journal of every time he missed a school event, every lie about working late, every night he came home smelling like unfamiliar perfume. And I waited. The kids started asking questions in April. "Why doesn't Daddy come to my soccer games anymore?" Sophie asked. "Why is he always on his phone?" Derek's excuses got lazier. "Work is busy, sweetheart." But I knew he was texting Jenna, making plans, living a double life while I held our actual life together. Then came Mother's Day weekend. Derek announced Friday night that he had a special plan for Sunday. "The kids and I are going to give you a day to yourself," he said. "You're always saying you need a break. So we'll go out, and you can relax." "That's thoughtful," I said, even as my stomach churned. "Where are you taking them?" "Just out. Maybe the park, get some lunch." I want it to be a surprise. I knew it wasn't the park. I knew exactly where he was taking them because Lisa Chun had already warned me. Jenna had been posting on social media about planning a special family day with the people who matter most. She'd posted it publicly. My husband's mistress was bragging about spending Mother's Day with my children. So Sunday morning, when Derek loaded our daughters into the car with their swimsuits and told me he was taking them to someone fun, I let him go. And then I went to war. Catherine's office was downtown, all glass and steel and expensive artwork. She had the conference room set up like a war room. Files organized, timeline printed out, strategy mapped on a whiteboard. "Here's what we're doing," she said, pouring us both coffee. "Tomorrow morning, we file for divorce. We also file for an emergency custody hearing based on parental alienation and exposure to an affair partner. We request immediate temporary orders. You get primary custody, he gets supervised visitation until we can do a full evaluation. Will that work? With this evidence? Yes. You have photographs of him bringing your minor children to his girlfriend's house. On Mother's Day, while lying to you about where he was taking them. Catherine smiled sharply. Judges don't like that. And his girlfriend posting about it on social media? That's gift-wrapped negligence. What about money? You said you work part-time as a pediatric nurse? 3 days a week. I cut back when Maya was born so I could be home more. That's career sacrifice for the marriage. That's alimony. Plus child support. Massachusetts calculates it based on income disparity and custody arrangement. He makes what? $180,000. $195,000 as of his last raise. And you make about $45,000 part-time? Yes. Catherine did some quick calculations. Conservative estimate, $3,000 a month in child support, another $4,000 in alimony, potentially for 7 to 10 years depending on the judge. Plus he'll likely have to pay your attorney fees since he's the higher earner. And this house, it's in both names. Yes. I contributed my inheritance to the down payment. I have documentation. Good. We'll argue you should keep the house since you're the primary caregiver and the kids need stability. He can buy out your portion of his equity, or we force a sale and split it. She leaned back. Vanessa, by the time we're done, Derek is going to deeply regret taking your daughters to his girlfriend's house on Mother's Day. We spent 4 hours going through everything. Bank statements proving Derek had been spending marital funds on his affair. Hotels, dinners, gifts. Credit card charges from jewelry stores that I'd never received jewelry from. Phone records showing thousands of texts to Jenna's number. This is actually egregious, Catherine said. He spent almost $30,000 of marital money on this affair. We can argue for reimbursement of that in the asset division. By the time I left Catherine's office, I felt powerful for the first time in months. Not happy. This wasn't what I'd wanted for my marriage, for my family. But powerful. In control. Derek came home with the girls at 6 p.m. They were sunburned and exhausted, chattering about the pool and the games and Daddy's friend Jenna who's so nice. Did you have fun, Mommy? Sophie asked. Did you relax? I had a very productive day, sweetheart, I said, hugging them both. Very productive. Derek barely looked at me. I'm going to shower, he said, heading upstairs. I put the girls to bed, reading extra stories, holding them close. Tomorrow was going to be hard for them, and I hated that. But staying in this marriage, teaching them that this was normal, that mothers accepted being replaced, that would be harder. Monday morning, Derek left for work at 7 a.m. like always. At 9 a.m., a process server met him in his office parking lot. He called me at 9:47 a.m. What the hell is this, Vanessa? Divorce papers. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. You can't be serious. Over one mistake? I can explain. One mistake. Derek, you've been having an affair for at least 6 months. You've spent $30,000 of our money on her. And yesterday, you took our daughters to your girlfriend's house on Mother's Day. Silence. I was trying to make everyone happy, he said finally. By replacing me with your mistress on Mother's Day? That was your strategy for making everyone happy. Jenna wanted to meet the kids. She's going to be part of my life. Not around my daughters, she's not. Read page 12 of the filing. I'm requesting supervised visitation until we have a custody evaluation. The judge will review your decision to expose our minor children to your affair partner. On Mother's Day, which you documented beautifully, by the way, Jenna's Instagram posts are already part of the evidence file. You can't keep my kids from me. I'm not. You can see them with a court-approved supervisor present. You know, until we can trust that you'll make decisions in their best interest instead of your girlfriend's. He hung up on me. 2 hours later, his mother called. Vanessa, Derek says you're being unreasonable. Surely you can work this out. Think of the children. I am thinking of the children, Patricia. That's why I'm divorcing their father before they learn that this is what marriage looks like. But divorce is so hard on kids. You know what else is hard on kids? Watching their father move his mistress into their lives while pretending their mother doesn't matter. Having their sense of family loyalty twisted by a man who took them to another woman's house on Mother's Day. My voice was steel. Derek made his choices. Now he gets to live with the consequences. The emergency custody hearing was scheduled for that Friday. Derek showed up with a lawyer he'd clearly hired in a panic. Young, inexperienced, unprepared. Catherine destroyed them. She presented the photographs of Derek and Jenna. The financial records of affair spending. The phone records. Screenshots of Jenna's social media posts about her special family day. And testimony from Lisa Chun about Derek's pattern of deception. The judge, a woman in her 50s named Henderson, looked increasingly unimpressed as the evidence mounted. "Mr. Hart," she said finally, "you took your children to your girlfriend's residence on Mother's Day while telling your wife they were going to the park? Your Honor, I was trying to blend our families. By lying to your wife and exposing your children to an affair partner without any discussion or preparation. That's not blending families, Mr. Hart. That's extraordinarily poor judgment." She ruled in my favor on everything. Primary physical custody to me. Derek got supervised visitation every other weekend until he completed a co-parenting class and a psychological evaluation. He was ordered to pay temporary child support and alimony. And he was explicitly forbidden from exposing the children to Jenna Whitmore without court approval. Derek's face went gray as the judge read the orders. "But they're my daughters," he said weakly. "Then you should have acted like their father instead of your girlfriend's boyfriend," Judge Henderson replied. "These orders stand until the final hearing." Court adjourned. In the hallway, Derek tried to approach me. Catherine stepped between us. "All communication goes through attorneys now," she said. "That's in the temporary orders. You can pick up your daughters for your first supervised visit on Saturday at 10 a.m. The supervisor's information is in your packet." "Vanessa, please. You said I wasn't fun," I interrupted. "You replaced me on Mother's Day because the kids wanted someone fun." "Well, guess what, Derek? Turns out I'm very fun with primary custody, child support, and alimony. I'm having a great time." His lawyer pulled him away before he could respond. The full divorce took 7 months. Derek fought initially, but his case got weaker as more evidence emerged. Jenna had been texting him during our family dinners, during the kids' bedtimes, during my birthday. He'd been planning to leave me. That's what the affair had been building toward. But he'd wanted to wait until after his promotion came through so his salary would be higher for calculating support payments. That particular piece of evidence, text messages where he explicitly discussed timing his departure for maximum financial benefit, did not play well in court. The final settlement, I got the house, primary custody, $3,400 a month in child support, $4,200 a month in alimony for 10 years, and 60% of all marital assets, including his retirement accounts. Derek got every other weekend with the kids, 3 weeks in summer, and a very expensive lesson in consequences. He and Jenna broke up 6 months after the divorce finalized. Turns out playing house with someone else's kids on Mother's Day was more fun than actually co-parenting through a divorce she'd helped cause. 2 years later, I'm thriving. I went back to work full-time, got promoted to nurse supervisor, and bought out Derek's remaining equity in the house. Sophie and Maya are well-adjusted, seeing a great family therapist, and have a stable, honest home with me. Derek has them every other weekend. He's polite now, even contrite. He completed his co-parenting class and his evaluation, and he's actually become a more present father than he ever was during our marriage. Adversity apparently taught him something. Last Mother's Day, the girls made me breakfast in bed. Slightly burned toast, overcooked eggs, and a card that said, "To the best mom ever." Derek dropped them off that morning for his weekend trade. We'd swapped so I could have them on the holiday. "Happy Mother's Day, Vanessa," he said quietly. I'm sorry. For everything. Especially for that day." "Thank you," I said because the girls were listening, and I'm teaching them that people can apologize and grow. But after he left, I looked at my daughters, my beautiful, smart, resilient daughters, and I thought about that Sunday 2 years ago. The day he took them to his girlfriend's house while I sat in a lawyer's office. He'd thought he was replacing me with someone more fun. Instead, he'd replaced our marriage with supervised visitation and a monthly alimony payment. Some lessons are expensive, and some mothers are a lot more fun when they're free.